Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am, the one and only Tiano here, once again, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos, as always. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Banjo-Kazooie, Grunty's Revenge for the Game Boy Advance. So last time, we've essentially did manage to able to almost collected everything in terms of the forms within the third world in this game, which appears to be Bad Magic BAYOU. So basically, we did manage to able to almost completed everything, with only one in particular exception. And that's what appears to be the last Jiggy, but we'll have to save that up and during later on throughout the game. So because of that though, yeah, we almost 100% everything on that world. So today, for this video, is the fact that we're going to be moving on to the next world in this game, which appears to be SPILLER'S Harbor. Which, as far as I'm aware, it's basically like a combination of the forms of, well, it's kind of like the exact same, kind of level as the forms of how it does it in, well, let's just say the forms of BAYOU Beach. Except the biggest difference is this time is the fact that the majority of this particular world is going to take place in the actual harbor, or in some cases though, is the fact that we can able to explore around in the city or something like that, like the actual harbor town. So in this case though, let's just go ahead and use our ability, so that way we can now able to actually access the forms of that particular gold feathers as you are trying to able to actually become invincible. So because of that though, and basically in order to able to actually activate the gold feathers this time around in this game though, is the fact that as you can tell that we actually now stumbled across those particular gold feather pads. So basically if you stumbled across one of them, then basically you have to press the L button or the I button. I have no idea because it has been about 2 days ago since we've last touched this, because as far as I'm aware, that today's day is of course the, I would say today it is the forms of the 21st of July today, in this case in 2022 today. So it looks like about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that, well, we're almost nearly at the end in terms of the forms of July, before we move on to the forms of the 8th month, which I could assure you about the fact that we'll save that conversation until whenever we get to a later portion of the entirety of the month. So we can pretty much expect what this is going. So in this case though, let's go ahead and take care of these birds, so just in case we can able to actually rescue that peacock right here. So in this case though, or in this case his name was Alfred Peacock, I think that's what its name anyway. So in this case though, he's gonna be able to actually just to be serving up the ice cream. So in this case though, we can able to expect that we can able to get that one in particular ice cream for free. So relatively speaking though, it's just the fact the matter is though, is the fact that we need to find one of those NPCs and stuff like that, so just in case we can able to actually complete one of those objectives. So yeah, that's basically how it goes, basically. Oh, I'm still quite literally 3 music notes left, but in this case though, as you can see, we've actually stumbled across the forms of that particular white eggs. So in this case though, we should probably save that conversation until when we get to later. So in this case though, yeah, as you can tell, if you dare touch the forms of that particular poison water, very similar to the forms of how it does it on Bad Magic BAYOU world, is the fact that if you dare touch the forms of that particular toxic water, basically though, is the fact that you take damage. So you have to be very cautious not to be able to swim around on it, unless you do need to have the ability to able to actually access to the next transformation in this world. So because of this though, relatively speaking about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that we can pretty much expect what the next transformation is going to be. But then again though, we'll have to wait until whenever we're able to, keep on exploring around in this world. So anyways, let's get that Jinjo here from that particular boat. So, and this is what the difficulty might start to able to increase a bit, especially noticeable because, relatively speaking, remember what I said before about the fact that sometimes this game gets really stingy in the later levels when it comes to depth perception in mind? Well, that's basically as far as I can get the strong sense of feeling about the forms of how the fact that with the depth perception might actually screw you up sometimes. Especially noticeable if you're trying to deal with a lot of platforming, as well as trying to deal with certain enemy encounters and stuff like that. So you pretty much expect about the fact that the difficulty might actually get pretty obnoxious at points. So yeah, let's take a death here, because I just get the feeling that we're actually missing something. So in this case, let's go back out. And because of that, though, we need a unique, or to be more specifically, that familiar move that we've learned from the likes of not only from Banjo-Kazooie, but also Banjo-Tooie as well. Well, mind you, in Banjo-Tooie, you get that move from the get-go, because obviously the exact same movesets from the first game to somehow made it appeared from the likes of when you start the game off. So, at the very least, that's that. So anyways, let's go ahead and yeah, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on backtracking on this particular world sometimes, especially noticeable about the fact that although that wasn't until what if we get to the final main world of the game, because the reason why I state that, because again, we'll probably discuss more details about that later. So anyway, so now we actually got enough music notes, so that way we can now finally able to actually just decide to use the familiar Ice Eggs. So if you ever played Banjo-Tooie before, basically though is the fact that this allows you to able to actually freeze certain enemies or something like that. So at the very least, we've actually now able to actually learn that move. So, and as far as I'm aware, I think there's only one move we can able to actually learn from this point, which obviously we do need to able to actually find that somehow. And that's we need to able to go into Spiller Tone. So in this case though, let's go ahead and roll into certain enemies and stuff like that and grab certain silver coins before we able to do anything. So yeah, exponentially speaking, that's as far as I can usually try to say. Oh, there's the last silver coin here, so that way we can able to give it to this particular mouse NPC right here. So hopefully we can able to... Oh, and by the way, something's worth mentioning is the fact that every once in a while that we will come across into those specific bees every now and then, which as a result, if you get near to them, it actually took you some damage. So, but the only way you can able to actually bypass those things with those bees in mind, that basically we have to use the you know, the gold feather in order to do it. So allow you to able to, you know, become invincible for, you know, multitude of reasons. So, and once again I stumbled across another death because I wasn't paying attention. So, oh well, no big deal, but at the very least we've respawned into that beginning portion of that area. So I get the feeling there was actually a Jinjo in there somewhere, but hopefully we will able to meet up with that later. So in this case, let's go ahead and get ourselves our next move. In this case though, we can finally able to actually have the ability to do the forms of, what else? The forms of the shock jump. So basically, very similar to the forms of how it does it on Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. Basically, if you stumble across the actual, the Kazooie's feet pad, basically it's your chance to able to actually perform a shock jump. So yeah, if you're familiar with that already, you know exactly how this plays out. Except the fact that it comes off a little bit more faster than the forms of how it does it in the previous two games, that's for sure. Especially noticeable because this is on a handheld of anything else to be more specific. Oh, and by the way, something's worth mentioning is the fact that you can able to actually interact with that particular arcade machine right there, as you saw. However though, for the sake of the forms of this Let's Play, unfortunately though, I don't think I can probably show this to you guys, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking, I think I should probably let Ray the Flying Squirrel, we'll talk more details about that if he ever comes back onto the forms of, you know, SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, and oh no, it's gonna be one of those timed-based kind of mechanics, isn't there? I should have known. Especially noticeable, there's quite a few switches around here, so... Anyways, let's go ahead and give the, those 5 lonely coins to this particular guy right here, so we can able to expect that. I get the strong sense of feeling, I believe we got ourselves another slide segment. So in this case though, it looks like that we might able to actually decide to race against him. So in this case, we can now able to actually enter this hole over here. So in this case though, we... basically, yeah, we have to race against with him, so... Because basically, if you don't keep up with it at all, then basically you lose the race. But, luckily though, you can able to actually keep trying multiple times if you keep failing on this. Especially noticeable that if you stumble across this particular... Well, I would say like a tar or something like that. Basically though, is the fact that you will slow down. So because of that though, hopefully I should be able to be very careful on this. And of course those boost pads will help you out, but even I know sometimes that these boost pads might actually lead you to this unexpected placement sometimes. So in this case though, I somehow win. Whew. It wasn't all that hard, at least as far as I can usually say about this for the most part. Well, despite the fact that, again, if you slow down, then basically it's pretty much done for you. Because I'm pretty sure that you obviously just somehow warp all the way there. So in this case though, about the fact that you have to do a lot of backtracking here and there. So, kind of annoying, especially noticeable because you have to do with depth perception, especially noticeable like this, for instance. Oh, wait a second, is it gonna be one of those time-switched elements to this? Is there? Yep, there is some. So in this case though, honestly, out of all the actual worlds, in terms of the forms of this particular game in general, when it comes to the forms of Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge, I will have to say that this world might actually be my least favorite world in the game, because as far as I'm aware, certain elements on this world, although nothing bad personally, but it's just the fact that the annoying part about this particular level to me though, is definitely that this game, or this particular world, has a lot of emphasis on time switches. So because of this though, because there are some switches that usually it's there, likely if you somehow managed able to do a bit of a big drill attack thing, and then basically if you keep on activating those specific shock jump switches, like that one for instance, it activates the forms of a very strict time limit. In this case we have a shorter time limit, so because of that though, yeah, it just gets a little bit more over-obsessive at one point. So I do apologize with that particular tongue twisting in the end, folks, because I know for the fact that, well, like I said, it's been about 2 days ago since I actually last played this, basically. So because of that, though, oh, darn, I can't really judge the distance all that much. Oh, dang it, I think I'm about to get killed again. Yep. Ah, darn that depth perception in this game sometimes. Well, thankfully the progression is still saved, so I think I should probably come back into it later. Although, I was expecting if I was trying to do the fastest run if possible, but most of the time though, it's just the fact that, well, like I said, depth perception is the most weakest aspect about the game, especially after playing, you know, the superior Banjo-Kazooie, and especially noticeable with Banjo-Tooie. At least I'll give Banjo-Tooie some credit for, about the fact that how fun that game is also. But as far as this game is concerned, it is fun at times, except whenever you try to deal with the forms of, well, let's just say with the forms of that particular depth perception in mind, with all that platforming and stuff like that. Yeah, you're gonna come across into a lot of depths in this game, although thankfully though, you know, like I said, much like the forms of Banjo-Tooie, you have unlimited amount of lives. So because of that though, that assuming if you keep on getting your game overs, then basically that's well, I already mentioned about this because obviously there's no point for able to mention about that stuff again. So I will say I do like the music in this world though, but aside from all that stuff though, I'm honestly not a big fan of this world, especially noticeable because it almost reminds me of the forms of Rusty Bucket Bay at times, although it's nowhere near as like annoying as the forms of Rusty Bucket Bay with all that infamous you know what I mean, with that infamous objective when you're trying to able to do with the forms of that particular propellers kind of mission. So in this case though, let's go ahead and talk to this particular weird mud squidder right here. And then basically though, that since that we've already found the UFO, so in this case though, I can assure to you it's actually UFO. So in this case though, we can able to expect that we need to oh, okay, so we need to find a small child that usually has the ability to able to notice. Oh, right, it was actually his toy that we just somehow got. So in this case, though, we've somehow found it. So in this case, we'll give it to him anyway. And then hopefully, as soon as we're able to actually done with those specific objectives, then, well, to be more specifically, when it comes to this kid right here, and I can assure to you that he will, or her will able to actually give us something. So in this case though will be you know what I mean, a Jiggy itself. So yeah, that's to be expected. So it feels like we've barely just somehow managed able to get some progression on this world so far, despite the fact that sometimes though, that like I said, that sometimes the depth perception might actually screw me up. So Anyways, let's get onto this roof, and somehow we ended up on Seaman's Lounge. So, in this case, he does have a TV, which does feature Gruntilda, in this case, Mecha Gruntilda right there. So, let's go ahead and use the gold feathers on those very familiar enemies for those who ever played Banjo-Kazooie already, which in this case though, in Rusty Bucket Bag's case, that we actually got ourselves the returning TMT boxes, which if you dare touch them normally, it will hurt you. But if you try to utilize the gold feathers, then basically you have no harms to it whatsoever. So at the very least that's that. So anyways, let's go ahead and keep on exploring, especially noticeable about the fact that, oh, I definitely need that health pickup because I'm slowly going to be dying. But regardless of such though, I think I might be alright with this, and especially noticeable it really helps that I somehow reached for those music notes here, so that should be alright and such. Oh yeah, and something worth mentioning for this point as well is the fact that, like I said before, that today's day is of course the 21st of July today, in this case in 2022 today, and it looks like about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that I believe we've only got about 8 more days to go until Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for the Nintendo Switch will be releasing. So about that time, about the fact that when it comes to the Nintendo Switch platform, that, oh, are you kidding me? I hate the fact that that enemy just somehow managed to able to get in my way. Ah, screw you sometimes. Screw you. Anyway, because as far as I'm aware, for the Nintendo Switch platform, as far as we already stated this, ever since in, quite a few months ago, as far as I'm aware, that every once in a while that, you know, Nintendo Switch actually got a lot, I mean, well, usually relatively speaking, that when it comes to the forms of Xenoblade Chronicles games, which I was very impressed of how this is concerning with all that, those game series in mind, that they've managed able to got the 3 games in one trilogy on those very underrated JRPG genre of games. Mind you, I wasn't really a big fan personally, just because I have tried the first game several times on the new 3DS or the Switch version. Well, mind you, I might as well give the first game a second chance on the Switch version again. So, assuming about the fact that my gigabyte storage for my Switch storage won't be necessarily trying to able to run out, so at least I'll try to able to get the game again, along with the forms of other games here and there as well, eventually in the future, but not now anyway though, because at this point in time that recently I'm starting able to actually playing, you know what I mean, some more matches when it comes to the forms of Mario Strikers Battle League Football again, because, you know, still enjoy the game still. So anyways, let's go in here to able to face off against with Kazooie. Seems a little bitter. She should be my heavy hitter since she stayed by Banjo's arm. I'm going to have to do her harm. So in this case, we have ourselves Mecha Gruntilda again, except now that we're actually going to be doing exactly the same thing as the forms of how it does on that spooky ship fight ever since in Beagle Beach, except the fact that I get the strong sense of feeling this might actually be a little bit tougher than the forms of how it does it on that particular ghost ship boss battle. Just because every once in a while though that she starts to able to spawn in a lot of magic spells on us. So we also keep that in mind is the fact that we always have to aim on those specific pink spots on as her weak spot. And then if you think you've done, well, chances are she's now going to be hovering around all over the place. So, and keep that in mind though, the only way you can able to attack her is the forms of those ice eggs. So if you run out of them, luckily, just like the forms of how it does it on that particular ghost ship boss battle, then basically you can able to get your eggs again. So this Jumbo Mecha really sucks. And yeah, you get the idea. So hopefully we'll able to bump into her again until, to be more specifically, I would classify for saying on her tower, I guess. So in this case though, in addition to getting ourselves our next Jiggy, but also the Mumbo token. So in this case, we can now able to actually have the ability to able to transform into another new transformation. So, and by the way, with the actual tar, or the oil rather, that's basically they don't hurt you for some reason. So, well, at least the only time it does hurt you is the forms of those very annoying, slimy-like creatures. Well, as far as I'm aware, and somehow I just died again. But that's okay though, because I somehow respawned before or after I've defeated the forms of Mecha Grunty again, so I guess that's that, I guess. So yeah, with the forms of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, as I said, only 8 days left now until that game decides to able to come out, so, because you know, I'm still very impressed to able to actually notice for that particular series, thus managed able to offer us not 1, not 2, but 3 games into that one platform. At least technically if you want to count the DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So as a result though, I was very impressed about the fact that the series managed able to get a bit popular now on the Switch platform, because obviously you can be able to play those games on the go, because unlike the forms of, let's say, on the Wii, specifically Xenoblade Chronicles only has one entry, which appears to be on the Wii, obviously, and same applies to the 3DS as well, and also there's only one Xenoblade Chronicles game, well technically 2, if you decide able to count with the forms of the digital re-release of the first game on the Wii U digital version. So at least relatively speaking, you will able to have Xenoblade Chronicles X and all that stuff, which I'm guessing that's the only game left to able to actually get the whole set when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles game series on the Switch platform. So, but we don't know when exactly though, but we'll see what happens during maybe in next year in 2023, if possible, but if not, then basically Xenoblade Chronicles X will be still pretty much stuck on the Wii U forever, so... Anyway, so as you can see on screen, we have somehow transformed into the octopus transformation, and basically what that does is the fact that you can able to actually have no harm when it comes to the forms of the toxic water. So in this case though, that's, well, it's pretty cool actually. Especially noticeable, it does remind me of the forms of the Walrus transformation in the first game. So, except the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, is the fact that, well, relatively speaking, we have to do a, you know, a different perspective, and also you can able to actually shoot certain stuff here and there as well by utilizing the forms of the B button in order to able to shoot the actual projectile on certain enemies or certain hazards or anything else to be more specific, which is pretty cool actually as far as I'm concerned with that stuff though. So anyways, let's go and to see if there's anything else I was missing on. Well, so far so good anyway, that I seemed able to didn't miss anything else to be more specifically just yet. And from here, as soon as we reach the end, to able to actually get ourselves not only more music notes, but also the another Jiggy. And that pretty much leads us back out. So just in case you can able to actually just to go ahead and continue exploring through the majority of the forms of this particular stuff. And also we've stumbled across another honeycomb piece, so at the very least we actually got that. It seems to be more specifically that we're pretty much almost done in terms of the forms we're trying to able to actually just to collect every single of those extra honeycomb pieces and all that stuff though, when it comes to health upgrades and stuff like that. But regardless of everything else though, I think that's as far as I can usually try to talk about for the sake of convenience that is, so... But anyway, and also as far as I'm aware, is the fact that I'm pretty sure for those of you who lived in, well, I'm pretty sure that Ray the Flying Squirrel has technically already mentioned about that. Or, in some cases though, I think I should probably say this again anyway. For those of you who lived in the UK, on specifically in yesterday, in the 20th of July, happy 10th anniversary of the release of Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, which, yeah, I can't believe that particular game is now, you know what I mean, a decade old, to be more specifically on the UK release. So, seems pretty cool though, honestly, so... Alright, so let's just go ahead and, yeah, there's nothing we can do with anything when it comes to that particular oil stuff, so, because, obviously, there's no way we can able to absorb it, so I'm guessing it's more accurately just a level itself, so, at the very least, that's that, I guess, so... Alright, oh yeah, I haven't checked in here, so because of that, though, I just need to, see what really happens here for, you know, collecting certain things, to be more specifically the 5 music notes in one pack, and if we try to able to swim from here, then we should be able to actually just to, actually I don't think there's anything we can do up there, because obviously we can't reach up there, so, because obviously we need to able to become an, the bear form in order able to actually just get up there. But again, the biggest problem I have with the game so far though is the depth perception, because you can't really tell where exactly you're about to jump and stuff like that. Because honestly, it does remind me of the forms of Sonic 3D Blast sometimes, because with all that depth perception as well as the actual isometric view, sometimes it can be feels a bit kind of you know, disorientating at times. So, and it looks like we've only got about one more transformation left. But first things first though, let me just go ahead and transform into ourselves the mouse form, because I can totally see why we're going to be able to actually transform into a mouse transformation, because we somehow stumbled across that particular sand castle. So I get the strong sense of feeling that we do need to able to require the mouse transformation in order to get inside. So, because as you can see, that hole was actually pretty small. So in this case though, we can able to actually start hunting for not only some more music notes, but I hear another Jinjo, and also we can potentially try to get ourselves another Jiggy. So, which, kind of think about it, this particular segment is this feels kind of similar to the forms of how it does it in Beagle Beach, except the fact that we can't able to actually rescue Beagles anymore, because obviously we've already did that ever since during the course have been well, you know what I mean. So anyways, let's grab some more notes here, and I don't think there's anything else in here, so, oh goodness gracious me, that was very, very close. And there's another note here, and seems that we've almost done with all that music notes in mind. Although, I think there's also another area we can able to actually access with that particular mouse transformation, so hopefully we'll able to try to find that. Well, assuming after we're done with the forms we're trying to explore the majority of the sandcastle, so we can able to expect how this is going to turn out. And then we should be able to create some more platforms, so that way we can able to now go across. So, another music note here, and, well, I can see there's a Jiggy over there. So in this case, let's go ahead and, can you activate this switch for me? Ah, come on. Okay, come on. There we go. Huh, does take a while, but hey, at least we did manage to sort that out. So, now we can able to actually get the Jiggy from there. So, but first off, let me just go ahead and see if there are some parts I was missing onto. Yeah, sometimes getting those music notes in this particular area might be a little bit confusing at points, because somehow with the sand, along with the music notes, just somehow blends into one another. So, that could be rather amusing sometimes, especially noticeable. Again, the depth perception might not be the strongest element in this game. I will have to admit that right away. So, okay, so I just have no idea what the heck am I going, because I know for the fact that, well, it's not possible you can't go up there. So in this case though, I just have no idea where I'm going. But, I know for the fact that, because again, depth perception just becomes a little bit of an agonizingly painful process, I must admit. But I'm sure we'll try to find our way. Oh, there's another music note here, so we can able to get that. So, and I think we are down to 7 of those music notes left. So we can able to expect that we're pretty much almost done with this world. I would like to able to discuss more details about the forms of other things that's going on. But, oh, wait a second. Ah, I see. We need to hop onto this particular, this milk item right here in order to able to climb up. Okay, I get the idea, game. I get the idea. So anyways, let's go ahead and, go across those particular platforms here. And, hopefully we'll try to find our way to the directions. That way we can able to get ourselves, what else? The next Jiggy, so... And I think this is the way that, yep, we found it. So, there we go. So I believe we've only got 3 more Jiggies left for Spiller's Harper and stuff like that. And then I could assure you, I'm pretty sure we're done here. So, although, yeah, I just need to able to get a quick reminder, just in case if I don't miss something. So, yeah, I could assure you we're done here. So... But, kind of think about it, we're not done with the mouse transformation just yet though, because, well, like I said, there might be still more to come. So in this case though, let's go up into that staircase, and then just go in here, and then there was actually that little hole we can go through, and that way we can able to get ourselves the next extra piece of the honeycomb, and also 2 music notes, and also the last Jinjo on this world. So in this case though, the reward somehow awaits us, so that way we'll grab that later. So hopefully we would be able to... oh jeez, I somehow keep on getting hits most of the time. So I think I should probably grab that Jiggy right now. So yeah, I think we'll try to grab that. So I think Gruntilda's getting desperate. Her Mecha Grunty suit needs more spare parts than the freezing furnace can make. I see. So now he's telling us about the fact that the next world we're gonna be hop into is freezing furnace. So yeah, that might be familiar. Well, at least we'll find out and during at some point until, like I said, that until on next Tuesday. Because, you know, I'm pretty sure that we've almost done with this game. So because of that though, yeah, I somehow died again. But that's okay though, because we can just simply just hit back and, well, do the rest of the forms of other stuff with, well, Banjo and Kazooie as in bear and bird forms, basically. So, yeah, we can change back into our normal selves. And I'm very grateful about the fact that, well, despite it does manage to lag a bit for the actual recording session so far, which I'm guessing is a good sign, but, you know, relatively speaking, that's as far as I can usually try to mention about that stuff, so... Alright, so... although we're not exactly done with the beach segment just yet, though, because as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure we actually only got about 2 Jiggies left. So, anyways, let's jiggle the directional pad, so just in case we can able to break free from that particular stupid little, slimy creatures and all that stuff. So, yeah, there's absolutely no point checking in there. And now we have to deal with the forms of the frustrating element on this world, and that is, of course, like I said, depth perception is going to be the biggest pain in the butt. Especially noticeable because, well, I can assure you, I'm also able to actually just try to utilize the directional pad for the majority of the later portions of this Let's Play, because, well, I have managed to try to practice this world sometimes, especially noticeable if I was trying to utilize the control stick or the analog stick, and then next thing notice the fact that I think it's probably best to not recommend using that option, because most of the time, the depth perception, like I said, will really completely screw you up if you somehow manage to use the analog stick in mind. So, anyways, let's go ahead and fly here, and there we go. Hi! I think I should probably, it's best advice for you, I think we should probably use the directional pad for the majority of the game every once in a while. Although sure, it might be a bit stiff, but regardless of such though, that might be my only recommendation option for the sake of convenience, that is. So yeah, be fast on this part, because otherwise, if you're too slow, then you probably have to do this entire switch ordeal all over again. And it's bad enough that every single time switches is always going to be like a time limit when it comes to, like, you know, certain things you've activated from. So, but at the very least that I somehow managed to accomplish that, so... Anyway, so now we're done with that. So, and I'm pretty sure we're done with the beach segment. So in this case though, let's have a look at the total so far. So yeah, we basically collected everything except for the last few collectibles we need to get, such as the last Jiggy we need to get, as well as the forms of 5 remaining notes. So hopefully we'll try to find that exponentially at some point. So, oh jeez Louise, okay. That was a close one. So, alright, so I get this feeling with that particular gold feather switch, I think this is gonna be the part where we're gonna have to able to utilize it properly. So, let's go use the talent trot here so we can run a bit faster. Oh, screw you. Stupid enemies, somehow get in my way, and then use the gold feathers so not only we can able to bypass through any enemies, but also just manage to able to kill all kinds of bees around here. And on top of that stuff though, we can able to actually activate the shock jump switch. So, and I just get a horrible feeling it's gonna be another one of those time-based switches. So, seriously, this place is gonna be filled to the brim with frustration with that time switches and all that stuff, like a time limit based switches. So, it's so annoying. Oh, don't you dare. No! Ah! Oh, I hate when that happened. Oh, screw you, dude. In fact, that's what you deserve for able to actually just get in my way. Oh. I'm pretty sure the depth perception is going to be the death of me. That is literally, it kind of feels like the most frustrating element of the game. Ah. Well, we just have to go for this entire ordeal again, despite I just died again. Ah. Like, it's just about the fact that it is so hard to able to judge the distance sometimes. Especially because, well, it's just the lack of depth. That's the only criticism I can think about for this game. Especially because, like I said, if you get screwed over by depth perception, then you have to do this entire ordeal again. So that won't be that fun. Anyways, let's try this again. So we'll just get rid of those bees before they try to able to tick us off. Alright, so let's try this part again, and then we're gonna have to make sure we don't mess this up this time. And after all, we've cleared some enemies. Well, most of the time, every once in a while, is the fact that they're obviously trying to respawn every once in a while, which is very annoying sometimes. Anyways, let's go up, and there we go. Now here comes the hard part, which is of course getting the Jiggy itself, and guess what you do? Another time-based switch. So because of that, jeez, what were they thinking with the forms of time-based switches and stuff like that, where it comes to time limits and stuff like that. So, okay, come on. Come on. Oh, yeah! Just about 1 second to spare. Oh, that was so lucky. Especially noticeable because, well, I'm almost gonna get myself a bit of a fury mode if I somehow do not make it in the nick of time. But regardless of such though, I have made it. So, although the only thing that's left now at this point is the fact that I have no idea where the last 5 of those music notes are. Oh, wait a second. Let's head back in here. Because I get the strong sense of feeling we're not exactly done with this area yet. In fact, where is it? Is it somewhere... Is it right behind that Jinjo statue this whole time? Oh, jeez. It was in the shadows, wasn't it? Ah. I have to admit to though right away is the fact that I really do miss the fact that, well, I just have no idea why I'm usually explaining about this right now, because sometimes though, certain, oh yeah, every once in a while though, is the fact that the annoying part about the later portions of the game sometimes though, is the fact that certain items can get very well hidden for, you know, with all that objects and all that stuff though. Yeah, that can be rather annoying, especially noticeable about the fact that if you think you've done with the world, but then next you notice is the fact that you're actually missing something, due to the forms of certain collectibles might be very well hidden, thanks to the forms of that particular object getting your way. So, at the very least, we did manage to rescue the final Jinjo in Spiral Mountain, so at the very least, we did manage to utilize the shock jump from up there. Actually, kind of think about it, I think we might able to actually decide able to wrap things up everything for the forms of Spiral Mountain before we hit on to the 5th and the final main world, because as far as I'm aware, this game only has 5 main worlds throughout the game. Well, technically 6, at least if you want to count this particular world for as a the actual hub world of any sorts. Well, at least as far as I'm concerned with that correctly, although then again though, it has been about 2 days ago since I actually last played this basically, so... Hey, so that pretty much concludes everything for the sake of the forms of Spiller's Harper. Again, an alright world, but it's just the fact that it's not one of my favorite worlds, mainly because of the forms of depth perception issues. So as a result though, I just have no idea why I'm questioning that. So, in this case, we've now actually able to actually got all of the Jiggies in terms of the forms of Spiral Mountain. So, nicely done. Although except the fact that we are still missing some notes, but hopefully we will come across into, I would say the final 3 music notes if we somehow manage to able to open up the final exploration world. So in this case though, the next world we're going to be entering into is obviously Freezing Furnace. In this case, as I said, the final exploration world we can able to explore before we hit on to the last, you know, kind of level, or should I say, the final boss in the game. So, anyways, let's activate the altar, and that way we can able to actually access to, Freezing Furnace. And that is going to take place in, I would say, somewhat of the exact same location, as in, yeah, they are right over there. In this case, though, with the final 3 music notes. And we're literally off by 1 Jiggy left in order able to actually access to the final altar, which basically opens up the forms of, I would say, Grunty's castle, basically, or Grunty's tower, whatever you to be more specific with this. So, anyway, so, yeah, it feels like we've almost done for this point, folks. Especially noticeable about the fact that, well, despite my commentary gets a little bit top bare bones at times, especially noticeable about the fact I have to deal with the forms of some input lag most of the time. But regardless of everything else though, I think we did this okay enough. So, anyways, let's go and time this right for this little... There we go. So that way we're able to actually go in full health mode. So, at least that's that. So, yeah, we're actually able to collect all 100 of those music notes in Spiral Mountain, so at the very least, we did manage to sort this out. So, yeah, I think let's double check on the totals quickly. So in this case though, yeah, it looks like we've done, technically, 5 worlds done. So, in this case though, we get the endings off at this point right here, I'm afraid, guys. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Banjo-Kazooie, Grunty's Revenge. That is the fact that we'll head over to the 5th and the final exploration world. That's what appears to be Freezing Furnace. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Later, fellas.